Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. You will notice that you were muted upon arrival, and we just do that so we can kind of hear each person at a time. I'm sure all of you are getting very used to Zoom by now. If you have a question or if you want to make a comment, you can unmute and we'll recognize you. You can also use the chat function and raise your hand or type questions into the chat. We're so glad so many of you could join us today. I know it was super late notice, but we're glad you were able to be here, and we're glad we're going to be able to still continue doing our June Dairy Month chairperson, even if it's in an unconventional setting. And thank you to Jacob Graves for joining us and giving us his experiences about being a District 3 winner, and John Goddard for bringing his cat. Thank you, John. I'm sure you all know Denise. We're super grateful she was able to join us from the Dairy Alliance today to talk about their role in this. So Denise, you want to say something?
Sure. Thank you all for coming on today. I appreciate your patience as we came up with a different program so you all could still promote June Dairy Month and do it safely from your homes. I know it's unconventional, but with great challenges come great opportunity. And I think that you all can get a lot out of this as agents as well, doing something outside the box. And maybe this will make it to where more youth can participate. We are still accepting scrapbooks physically and a PDF version virtually. So hopefully this will be a benefit to some students or some youth that haven't gotten to participate in the past, and it will make things a little easier for all of us, as well as promoting the world's most perfect food, milk. So we'll get started. Liz, do you want to start some of the questions, or how do we want to?
Sure. So guys, obviously this is going to be pretty informal since we're all under quarantine. If you have any questions at all about changes to the platform or what moving forward is going to look like, feel free to unmute, raise a hand, or throw them in the chat at any time. Denise and I are planning to go over an example of last year's winning scrapbook, and since Jacob's online, he can tell us some of the things that he did that he found successful. And we're also going to highlight some of the resources that we can use to help you and your June Dairy Month chairperson promote our world's most perfect food and showcase the art of dairy, which is this year's theme, right, Denise?
Absolutely. I do want to share briefly, it looks like UT Extension has canceled all in-person meetings through July, so we will be unable to have the kickoff this year. We're trying to come up with a way to recognize the poster winners from this year and then last year's scrapbook winners. We still want to make sure you get the recognition that you deserve for such hard work and such great scrapbooks and ideas. So be looking for your emails on ways that we're going to try and do that virtually. We're not sure what it's going to look like, but we want to thank you for a job well done.
At the very least, we're going to be throwing them on our UT Dairy Facebook and Instagram pages, so we'll highlight y'all there. But if y'all have any ideas of other ways to virtually highlight or what you've been doing in your counties, we'd love to hear that from you too.
I will start with the biggest change. So online platforms. The great thing that your youth have going for them, they are the digital generation. So they are already on the up and up when it comes to Facebook, Twitter, well, not so much Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. These are all platforms that are free to use, and it's basically limitless on the ideas that you can create to promote dairy. Liz, if you want to, actually, I'll bring it up. I'm going to grab the screen from you. We have a June Dairy Month page for this year. Can you all see that? Did I get it?
Not yet, dear. Did you share the screen?
I did, but I don't know that it went through.
There you go. Now I can see it.
There we go.
All right, so for June Dairy Month, in the past, this is last year's page. Bear with us. We're working on getting it updated with the Art of Dairy logo that's going to go here. We'll have the Dairy Month industry booklet that's updated. We're going to take the year off of all of these things to make them evergreen, change some of the looks, but it won't be a dramatic change. You have your June Dairy Month proclamation template that you can still use. Hopefully some of your mayors or some of your city groups will be open to doing a virtual proclamation signing. That would be kind of cool to include on social media. We have activity sheets, PSAs. The great thing with radio nowadays, they can do a lot over the phone. So we still have those 15, 30, and 60-second PSAs. We'll have the Tennessee sheet updated, I've been told, by the end of May. So you'll have those facts and figures to share. Talks about some facts on the origin of June Dairy Month and some other on-farm facts that you can share with the public too. So that's just one resource. And how many, do quite a bit of you all, and I don't know if this is really a good question asked on Zoom, but if you have a Facebook page or an Instagram page that you would like to share with us, we can help amplify and share those county June Dairy Month chairpersons events and ideas through our social media, and Liz is welcome to do that through UT. So if you will either share those in the chat or email those to Liz or myself, then we'll be sure to add you all and share the great things that you all are doing virtually as well.
Something
Liz,
that I did last year.
you.
Oh, sorry, Denise. Something I did last year that I'm sure I missed some of you because I was still new to doing the youth side of this, was I went through and tried to find as many Facebook pages as I could from our June Dairy Month chairpersons, and I tagged them on our UT Dairy Facebook page and said, go check this out for all the great resources in your area. So if I missed you last year, or even if I got you last year and you want to remind me that you have one, even if it's just your general county page, I'll make sure anytime we do a post or we do a blast, I link out to you as well. So y'all are all included and y'all are all highlighted. And Justin put some great information in the chat, and I'm just going to show y'all. I'm sure all of you have already seen this landing page. Can y'all see my screen, Denise? Denise?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So our landing page for the 4-H County Dairy Promotion Contest is in the chat right now. And this year is the Art of Dairy. So here on our 4-H page, we've got the highlight of thank you, Justin. We've got the highlights of the rules, and the rules haven't really changed at all. We also have who we're submitting scrapbooks to. And if you are mailing them, you're going to use the mailing address. If you are sending them through the virtual platform, we're just going to email it to Denise. And if you email it to me instead, that'll be fine. I'll just email it to Denise. And we're going to go over a little bit more of our criteria overall, but all of this information is pretty much the same thing y'all all received in your letter. It's just listed here as well. And then this one, I believe, is the poster contest. So Denise, do you want to talk about the poster contest a little bit?
Sure. We're going to continue on with the poster contest this year, and we've extended the deadline to receive those until May 25th. So if you still have youth that want to do this, you can get those posters in. Just make sure that they're postmarked by then. Send them to the address here, the P.O. box, and make sure they're in a flat container. If they're rolled up, then I can't really, it takes a lot to unroll them and make them presentable for the judges. If for some reason you cannot get your hands on a physical poster, feel free to take a picture of that and put it and send that to me. I don't want to discourage any youth from being able to turn in a poster since the kids aren't in school right now. So that is an option too, even though that's not on here. We'll have the winners to announce, I'd say, by mid to the end of May, since we've extended that deadline. And we'll send that out through email as well, and then do some social media promotions with them too. Any questions there? All right.
Denise, what if we have any kids who want to do something like a PowerPoint slide as a poster, or something that we would normally see printed out at like a national meeting? Are they okay to send you PowerPoints or PDF copies?
Yes, as long as it's one slide.
One slide. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat the deadline on that again? It's got the 15th. You want to make sure the 25th is that
May 25th. That's the last Monday in May.
Okay.
But if you get them in, I'll make sure they're judged.
So Denise, we had it originally made the 15th. I just want to confirm you're extending that to the 25th, and I'll change the website real quickly.
Yes, we'll extend it through the 25th.
Right now.
Since we don't have the actual kickoff, I'm not pressed on time to get them judged and then have them there to present and have the ribbons. So we do have more leeway with the date. I hope that helps everybody.
So then we'll find out when
It'd be
who the winners are.
mid-May or mid-June to the end of June. Let's just say end of June.
Okay.
The Kentucky Department of Agriculture, their dairy marketing specialist, she's one of the judges, and then usually one of the other people. And we might have to get creative on how we get those judged.
Gotcha.
Is that still just the one per county?
Yes, ma'am. So just pick the best one from all of those submitted from your county, and that's the best way to go. And there's no age limit.
So we have a couple questions in the chat, Denise. One of them is, what size does the poster need to be?
Scroll down there.
Look at the
mind.
directions, Liz. Yes. Liz looked at the directions.
I believe it's on there.
It's like a normal 4-H poster, 14 by 22 inch.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the very top.
Thank you.
Very top. Oh, there we go. Scroll up, Liz.
I told you the wrong way.
So another one is, we are new to this event. You said you would accept a slide, but do they still create an actual poster, take a pic and send as a PDF, or design on a slide? Sandra, that is entirely up to you. So if you want to have your student do your 4-H'er do an actual poster and take a picture, you can just submit that as a JPEG, so just as a regular photo to me or to Denise. If they're a little bit more computer savvy and they want to create that in PowerPoint, so using clip art, online pictures, some of the word art things, and saving just that single slide in PowerPoint and sending that as a PDF, that is also completely acceptable. It's whatever is easiest for you and your 4-H'er. Any more questions on, another question. Are the winners from each county recognized in any way, or only state winners?
The state winners, first, second, and third is what we've been doing historically.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see a problem with creating some kind of document or some kind of press release that recognizes the county winners, if that's something y'all are interested in. Let me make a note.
They also win a T-shirt for their county.
Yes.
And Alicia, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. If you want to highlight them through me, feel free to send me a picture of their poster or a picture of them if they're okay with it, and we'll put it on our state's website as well, so everybody can see them and celebrate with us. Another question, so the electronic versions have to be in a PDF format. Julie, they do not. They're a little bit easier to send that way, and we can make sure that nothing moved on your PowerPoint slide if they're in a PDF format, but I can pretty easily do that. So it's,
and if you do take a picture of it, try and hang it up on a wall and get a good, nice, clean shot of it. If you put it on a table or lay it on the ground, a lot of times you get shadows and it's at an angle. So try and make sure they're hung up and get a good, clear picture. And I'll do my best for the ones that are sent in digitally. If I need you to retake that photo or anything like that, I'll let you know.
and then our final question is, can we make a poll up that people can for their favorite ice cream or any other dairy products? Did you mean for today, James? Or did you mean for something for the students to include on their poster or on their scrapbook? I think a Facebook poll in each of your counties would be kind of cool. I think that'd be a pretty neat outreach tool, just as something to throw up and say, what's your favorite dairy product, or what's your favorite flavor of ice cream, to then incorporate that into your project portfolio. I think that would be really cool. Don't know that I'm savvy enough to actually make one on the spot right now, full disclosure.
And if you want to do a prize pack for people in your county to submit their favorite flavor or guess some dairy facts. We are going to be able to ship the youth the little packets of goodies. Our office is shipping out now 3 days a week. So as long as we get those early enough for June, that could be a good option for you all to use as a pull-in to get people engaged on your pages too.
Miss Denise, James is one of my 4-Hers, and he and I are both, I haven't done this in years, and he's never done it, so we're both kind of clueless. How many prize packs do you allot for each county? So if we had, the poll was one of our activities, and we did 2 or 3 other things, could we have more than one prize pack, or how does that go?
So for the goodies, I think Liz is scrolling down. And I want to say it's 200. Where'd it go?
I probably
It might be up further to the top, Liz.
It probably is. I know it's in our letter, and it is. It's 200 of the pencils, 200 of the bracelets, and 200 of something else, Denise, that I cannot remember.
And I may add to that, we have some reusable totes. I may go ahead and put in like say 6 of those. You could do 1 a week or 2 a week. Do you all like that idea? 6 reusable.
Just do like a giveaway. No, I love that.
That's great.
So
That
what
would
I
be
put
great.
up here to try to kind of help answer that, Julie, is this is our scrapbook contest scorecard. And the whole purpose of the scrapbook is to really showcase what your 4-H'er did, what your June Dairy Month chairperson did. So it's just a record of their accomplishments, presented however that 4-H'er wants to present it. So if they like to do things with fun text bubbles and word thoughts, more like that, instead of necessarily pictures, if they want to do things like screenshots of a poll they did or pictures of a poll they did, all of that is completely up to them however they want to present it. I learned a long time ago that most people are more creative than me. So if you're just looking at me for ideas, the well's going to be pretty low, unfortunately. But our rubric gives you an idea of kind of what we're looking for. So appearance is only 15 points total. And the whole idea of that is whether it's something that you're presenting online or something that you're sending in as an actual physical scrapbook, you want it to be eye-catching and attractive. So whatever that first page is, you want it to grab your attention and say, ooh, I want to look at that. Ideally, it would highlight the county that you're in so we know exactly who you are and exactly what we're looking at. So something talking about the art of dairy and your county name would be ideal, just so we know who you are, what we're going to learn about, and we can really celebrate with you. The photograph, yes. And Denise is showing you, let me see if I can spotlight you. Spotlight video. Maybe that worked. I don't know if y'all can see her any better now. So
This
she's
is
showing
Jacob
you the
Graves.
cover.
And then you've got the summary here. Sorry, I know my lighting's not great.
So I'm going to stop my share so they can see you, and then I'll go back to talking about the scrapbook.
Okay. So you have your summary page that's supposed to be included with every single scrapbook. And then on the first page, he does a really good job showcasing dairy is in his family's DNA.
And Jacob.
Whoop, whoop. So,
This was a really great scrapbook, and the judges were very impressed with how creative Jacob was. He created an Einstein. Let's see if I can you see that?
not quite. There he is. Now we can see him.
Yeah.
He created an Einstein, and he had a costume and everything. So the ideas are limitless. He even created a calendar on his promotions. I'm going to work with our communications department to add this element onto the June Dairy Month page with ideas that you can do daily, just to help build a calendar, to help give you all some outside the box things you can do.
So
I'm
with
good
art,
for sharing.
with art especially, your options are limitless. I mean, you can go full on Pablo Picasso, or you can go Monet, whichever way you want to go. Have fun. We could even do, graffiti tagging. I don't know. See, this is me creative. It's not working.
Liz, do you think this is a good time to give Jacob an opportunity to talk about what he did in his scrapbook? Would you like to do that now, Jacob?
That's fine with me if you guys are all right with it.
If you want me to show something, just tell me and I'll find it.
Okay, so like the title you had with my granddad in there, the first picture with all three of us was actually, it was really funny how it worked out because he was 82 years old, and last year was the 82-year mark for June Dairy Month, and it worked out almost 4 more days, and it would have been perfect. He was born, I believe, May 28th, so he just barely missed it. And he was a farmer when he was younger, so we thought, hey, this could not have worked out any better. So we put a picture of me, my dad, and him all together holding little test tubes that my mom bought to go with the Einstein outfit. And I don't know if you can tell in the picture or not, but it's 3 different kind of milk. It's strawberry, chocolate, and white. So we really, we thought that would be good to go with the dairy is in our DNA, generation kind of side of it. So that's why we went with that as our cover photo. And the whole theme, me and my mom came up with one day. We heard that I was going to be the chairperson for this year. So we instantly went home and started brainstorming what could we do that would get the kids involved, be really recognizable for them. So we thought, we went through scientists because DNA, you instantly, think of science. And people came up like Louis Pasteur, who was the pasteurization of milk. But we thought, these kids are not going to understand who this is, but everybody knows who Albert Einstein is. So that's kind of where the idea came together, and we went and we bought a wig and some eyebrows and a mustache and, dyed it and everything, and bought a lab coat with the vials. And the kids really did enjoy it. It was awesome seeing the joy on their face when they saw a crazy guy walking up with milk. So I really did enjoy the experience of it. And I did get a lot of help from the county and my parents, and we all really worked together to do the scrapbook. And also the lab coat came from Miss Diane. So shout out to Miss Diane. Thank you so much for that.
Yes.
But
You loved that mustache, didn't you?
oh wait, I don't think I've ever had anything fall off more than that mustache did. The kids, it was so bad. One time I was in the middle of a presentation and it fell halfway off. So it was like, am I supposed to move it or am I supposed to just leave it? So of course, when it was over, the kids kept saying, he's fake, he's fake, he's fake. But it was a great time, and it was really a team effort. We all worked really hard to promote dairy and how important it is, and how, dairy is in our DNA.
Hey, Jacob, can I ask you a question? What sort of ideas would you recommend for youth this year if they can't do a face-to-face thing like the Einstein?
It's a really interesting year how it's working out. I've been thinking about, what possibly we could have done if we had something like this. And I mean, we went to a lot of day camps so you could see if they would set up like Zooms. And it's kind of harder because there's not as many, it's not as easy to dress up as an artist because everybody knows the artwork, but not everybody knows who the artist is. But I would still, I'd work into some famous artist and try and dress up, get pictures in it and showing that you're still promoting it, just social distancing, of course. And I would work through social media and Zoom calls if it'd be available for them.
Thank you.
We also have some virtual farm tours that are available on our website. And then nationally, we work with Discovery. As a Discovery, I'll get the link and I'll post it in the chat. But there's lots of virtual ways if you want to do virtual farm tours and engage kids that way too.
Thank you.
So, I mean, I guess any questions that anyone's got? Just 1 second.
I know Denise,
Also,
I'm sorry, Jacob, go ahead.
it's okay, but we made a shirt too for all of our club members. And if the Einstein picture that you showed earlier, the little miniature one, we actually got it on the shirt here, and it says dairy is in our DNA. And we got it on the back. We have the I don't know if you can see it very well, but we have the double helix on the back.
Oh, nice.
And it's got the different parts of DNA on it. So just another idea that was thrown up and worked really well, I thought.
Yeah, I love that.
I know in the double helix, am I on? Yeah, on the double helix, we put the 9 essential vitamins and minerals that's in milk and that type of thing in that double helix. So that was another part of our theme that we went with on that shirt and design and things. And we have a committee that works with Jacob when we were, going to all the different day camps because we had things set up every day that we went and did. And so it was, our committee, and Jacob has 2 younger sisters that really went above and beyond that helped him out quite a bit and carrying things and dressing up like little cows with tutus and everything else that they helped out. They're both 4-H'ers also, so they really helped him. Ella and Courtney helped him quite a bit. But there's a lot, we made a lot of ice cream in a bag. So, a lot.
We did have one other question about the scrapbook specifically. It was, is there a page limit to the scrapbook?
So, sorry, I'm going to plug my phone in. There's no limit, but I will share this with you. If you're going to send a physical scrapbook in, this one is probably about 5 inches wide. I would suggest whatever scrapbook you purchase or use, make sure you do not stress this too much because I do put these in a tote with all the other ones. And in the past, when they're too big, they fall apart. And I hate that. I don't want to do anything to damage anybody's hard work. Just make sure that it's sturdy enough to hold the scrapbook. And then virtually, I wouldn't make it probably more than, just trying to think, 50 pages because the judges still have to go through those.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no written limit.
Yeah. As many pages as you need to
And
show all
Denise
the
and I get to let those things across the state.
Repeat that, Justin?
Oh, sorry, Liz. I just want to say Denise and I get to lug those things across the state. We don't want any irate mamas calling because it's
No.
fell.
No. Thank you,
Just
Justin.
done that.
I will say that with those scrapbooks being so big, we go and buy bolts to replace what the scrapbook, you can't find a scrapbook like that. We have to put bolts in it to hold it.
Thank you, Diane.
It just seems to me with the portfolios going electronic, you could probably do a pretty good quality scrapbook in electronic form, and then like a Wix site, like the ones for the 4-H portfolios. And then all you'd have to have was the site and the password, and you could show it anywhere. You wouldn't have to lug it.
Yeah, I am totally open to that. We discussed it this winter, but we didn't get all the information together in time and wasn't sure how that would actually work. We went through the portfolio rubric to see how we could fit it in. Mm-hmm. But yes, I'm happy to do that in the future. So I'm open to any ideas. And if you can help us with that, that would be great.
Mm-hmm. And that might be more of a Justin question. If that's a platform we can use, the 3 of us can talk about that later and figure out what that would look like.
It sounds great.
So we have one comment in the chat that sounded super cool. Apparently there is a program called Skype a Scientist, and animal scientists are one of the options. You just have to go to www.skypeascientist.com with no spaces. And that could be an excellent option for a virtual event to see what's out there. And if any of your 4-Hers, I'm probably going to regret this, but not really, just kidding. If any of them want to interview me or talk to me about anything, I am happy to do that as well. Just let me know and we'll set something up. I will say, I'm sure all of you have been getting my weekly webinar Wednesday emails. So if we could avoid Wednesdays as possible days to set them up, I would appreciate that. Another question was, how do we access a virtual farm tour? Denise, you want to
bringing it up? I will share a link to that. We had one lined up for Kentucky and Tennessee. for May. And then we ended up having to cancel because of all the travel restrictions, at least in Kentucky. Let me see here. I will copy this link and I'll do a couple others as well. This is just one option. This is our nationwide campaign with the National Dairy Council and Dairy Management Incorporated. That's where the Undeniably Dairy campaign came from. If I can get my mouse to work. There's one link, and I'll pull another one for you. And then we have a Southeast link too, but these are some newer ones. This is ADA Northeast. Any other questions, ideas?
So is there a set format for online yet? Like, can we use PowerPoint, or are we just still trying to figure that out? Or what do you guys suggest if we are considering the online version? What's the best way to go about that?
I would say it's whatever you're comfortable with using. Some youth may have experience in InDesign. I don't know if they have access to that or not, but it's whatever you have available that's easy for the 4-Hers and you all to work with. As long as we can turn that into a PDF to email so it's not as big, we can work around getting the documents to me. We even have a Dropbox. We can use Google Drive. Those are all some options if they are larger to get them to us. So I'm not going to turn down any format. We're going to take whatever you all can put together for the time being. We'll see how it works. This is just a new trial.
And to try to overcome that, I'm going to steal the screen from you again. We've tried to leave our contest scorecard pretty open. So the photographs, illustrations, that's really just, we want to make sure we can actually tell what the picture is. So as long as it's not horribly blurry and we can kind of see the general idea, I don't think I'll lose any points here. As far as the contents, one of them is the chairperson summary report, and that should have been included from Denise in that overall letter that she sent all of you. So as long as that's filled out, and that's page 2, so cover page 1, page 2 is this report, we're good there. And it's just wanting to make sure that it's easy to follow so we can really see what you did. As far as effective presentation of promotional efforts, there are a variety of different breakdowns here, but we've left that very broad. So however you choose to highlight your community efforts, your media, social media efforts, or newspaper, radio, and TV, that is great. So we've tried to leave enough wiggle room in here because we recognize that it is a weird platform, it is a weird time, and we're all getting used to it together. So however y'all can best send that to us is great. As far as arrangement, it's just creative and consistent use of good space and mix of pictures, text, and advertisements. Advertisements are probably less of a thing during our June Dairy Month, but we just want to make sure that if you have a picture, you have some kind of text explaining to us what you did, maybe how many people were there, what you brought to it, if you handed out the activity books or stickers or any of the pencils, just really highlighting what you did with that picture as well. And then the text and printing, the biggest thing is we want to be able to read it, so don't make it, like font of 5. So we have to use a magnifying glass to read it, and no huge mistakes in grammar or spelling. It's a pretty broad rubric, and we're hoping that that gives y'all some flexibility when you're submitting things to us.
Did you guys see Lee Fuson's concerns in the text chat?
Did we see what?
Lee Fuson's comments.
Let me see.
That was me. I had a girl that won a state award a couple years ago with her scrapbook, and I know she put a ton of money and time and effort into that scrapbook. And I know everybody, James, I'm sure you can attest to that as well. Or Jacob, I'm sorry, the boy that's on here. And, you know, somebody that puts together an online one, which I know that still takes a lot of time and effort, and but there's just a big difference in, you know, how they put that together. And to me, somebody that puts in hours and hours and $100 putting together a scrapbook compared to somebody that just did a PowerPoint, that's a big difference to me.
We've talked about that. I'm not sure the most fair way, and with the time that we had to figure it out, I don't know if it's too late to do a sub award for virtual. I'm not sure. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's more fair to the youth? Do you think that would discourage people from participating if they do it virtually?
I would just like to add, not necessarily for this year, but for moving forward, this is Alicia Victoria, and I'm an agent in Union County. You know, I would encourage everyone to think about, do we want cost to be a barrier to students participating? Because our student last year put quite a bit of financial resources into their scrapbook as well. And in marketing and recruiting students, that could be a barrier to some students. So I'll just encourage everyone to think about that moving forward, since this situation has sort of brought that to light.
I agree with what Alicia said, but I will say this. I know that Jacob's mom, Tammy, told me, she said that she wants that scrapbook. She wants that. But I mean, I know, as I have 3 past winners scrapbooks sitting in my office, because they're like, what am I going to do with this now? And my own daughter from years ago was like, she was going to get rid of hers. And I was like, oh, no, you're not. We put too much into that. And so, you know, and I tend to agree with Alicia that I don't want that to be a barrier for the kids if, you know, if they don't have the financial resources, because it does take a lot to do this, especially if you don't have any help from, I mean, you can get sponsors possibly, but, you know, which we, you know, Farm Bureau helps us out. But I think moving forward, that might be an avenue that we really look at, you know, like we do the portfolios on the Google Wix, and how we can maybe do it that way instead. I don't know.
And I just want to add that, you know, I don't want what I said to seem off-putting. The way that we handled it last year was we actually partnered with our FCE groups, and that was great for the youth to learn how to partner and how to ask for what they need. And we actually ended up using resources that FCE ladies had available already. So, I mean, it was great, and I think it was very educational for the youth. But I do think if in the future there was an option to do both, then that would be good as well. Because I think the physical book is fantastic. I mean, it's such a great promotional piece, and it did encourage partnerships in our county that we may not have done otherwise. So, you know, I'm kind of sitting on that fence both ways. I think it depends on the county and the student.
Well, in the comment earlier about the portfolio, when we were talking about the scrapbooks before, I would hate to get rid of a physical one because there's just something to that. So maybe we do have 2 entries. If someone wants to enter that physical scrapbook, all the scrapbooks are judged together. And then you have a second tier that may not be as much of a financial incentive, but it could be based on the portfolio. I'm happy to look at both, or even the virtual version, and I don't know how that would work, but I'm willing to make it work. But I do think there is that fairness aspect, because it does take a lot of time. These scrapbooks, some of them are very detailed, and you know that child and their family put a lot of effort into it. And I totally see what you're saying there too, though, with the virtual one. Yes, that is time and effort, but it's not as much compared to that physical scrapbook. So maybe we look at a 2-tiered approach for those awards. for next year.
I agree. I like that.
So one of our respondents suggested creating a poll, and I think I've managed to do it. And the poll is just, would you rather create a physical scrapbook or an online scrapbook? Oh, that is not what I meant to ask. Maybe it's polling question 2. There we go. Would you rather have the online and physical scrapbooks be judged separately? So I have an option of together, separately, or no preference. So I think we have quite a few 4-Hers online with us, and agents you can chime in too. I'm gonna launch the poll, and it's just 3 things. So if y'all could fill that out, I would appreciate it. We'll see how it works. So we've got 50 seconds. Go.
This is awesome, Liz.
I think we're seeing a pretty clear trend here, Denise.
Okay, so if they're judged separately, I'm open to doing that. Since we've already sent the letter out, do you think most agents that didn't get to participate in the call today would be okay if I send out an amended rules and information with a 2-tiered structure for awards? Can you do a poll for that? Yes to amending, or no, it's too late?
All right, give me 1 second. Okay, coming your way. Amending letter to agents to accommodate a subaward for an online scrapbook, yes or no? We also have a pretty clear consensus on this one so far, Denise. We've captured about 70% of the people that are responding. So it looks like that most of our respondents don't think that that's going to be an issue.
Okay, I'm more than happy to do that, and I'll work with Justin and Liz to make that as fair as possible. I think we can make that work.
All right, gonna end that poll as well. All right. Thank y'all for trying new things on Zoom with us. So we had another question in the chat, Denise, and I responded, but I'm going to let you as well. Does the scrapbook highlight what you do before June, or do we highlight what we're going to do during June?
There was a couple youth, and Jacob did this too, that kind of laid out when they met with Jake and Jacob's County person group, and then you had the kickoff that historically was in May. But if your 4-H'er is doing something the last week of May to prepare and doing some things to getting people ready to promote June Dairy Month, yes, please include that, because that just shows their ability to want to go on and do a good job, the pre-planning. I'm totally happy with that. There's not a criteria in there for it, but I think that still looks good.
I know when we went and did radio PSAs, we would do them usually that last week of May. And then we would also set up when we would come and do live interviews during that time. So that was always a good preparation. The kid, we had like 11 of our 4-H'ers on the committee that went and did different PSAs at one of our local radio stations that last week of May.
And I will say that as the dairy extension specialist, I've been getting lots of questions from local reporters from across the state asking how our dairy farmers are being impacted by COVID-19. So they have been very open to having phone interviews, Skype interviews, Zoom interviews. So those are all options that I think could probably extend to you and your June Dairy chairperson as well.
And if you need talking points, if you want to get up to date, I know a lot of our youth don't come from dairy farm families. We have talking points I can email out. If you get a specific question that's posed on a Facebook comment, please email me with those, because we can draft a quick response and your 4-H'er doesn't have to worry about making it sound like it should. We have the resources for it. So I can also send out talking points on the current dairy situation for y'all to use.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Last year, we had one 4-H'er who was approached about the undercover video that was released from Fair Oaks, and it was on the county level Facebook page. And the Dairy Alliance did a great job of responding quickly to help us give that 4-H'er something to respond back with.
I have another question. This is Lee Fusen. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer today at all, just trying to cover all my bases. So, you know, in the past, we've done like obviously actual events and things, and obviously I'm not going to be able to coordinate those, but would a youth be able to, like if they wanted to go to a grocery store and pass out samples or information or something on their own and I wasn't there, is that something that they would be allowed to do? Or does it strictly need to be all online and all radio announcements and things like that?
So my initial thought to that is we are in a progressively moving fluid situation. I know in Tennessee, you all have a little bit more, quite a bit more things that are open. So as long as that youth is adhering to the guidelines set by the governor and keeping with social distancing, making sure they're keeping themselves safe, their family, the consumers they interact with, and that they have a good relationship with the store, I think that's great as long as they're safe.
Yep.
But yes, I wouldn't push it and get anyone in trouble, but just make sure adhering to those guidelines. And as long as they can do that, I think that's perfectly fine.
And I want to add to that, if I could, Denise, from UT standpoint. We've had a few isolated cases during this pandemic. Given that we cannot have face-to-face meetings, this kind of thing would essentially apply. For example, taking 4-H'ers to an event where someone else has invited you. So we're not the ones hosting it, but the Farm Bureau or the co-op has invited 4-H'ers to come. And I've had to tell everybody, no, we cannot send 4-H'ers in the name of 4-H, just given that situation. We have had a couple of isolated situations. One in particular comes to mind where some 4-H'ers were going to the nursing home and standing outside the window and visiting with residents. And Dr. Loveday and I visited with that agent, and essentially that was okay given that they practice, you know, social distancing and that sort of thing. So I would say to the agents, just maybe visit with your county director, or if that is you, if you want to visit with the regional office or us, just to make sure somebody's on the same page as you, just so that we don't get ourselves into a situation where that young person were to come in contact or have some sort of issue, and then it puts UT kind of in an odd situation because we really are not allowing folks to meet until after July 31st. So if y'all have specific questions, be glad for you to share those with me offline and we can kind of talk about them.
So just real quick, I know we're getting to the end of our time here. Oh, looks like Denise got lost. Let her back in. I just wanted to show you a couple of the other resources that we could use. So this is the computer version of the Instagram page for UT Dairy. And you can see that how we highlight our June Dairy Month chairpersons last year. Since so much of our time is virtual, if there is an individual picture or a link or anything like that that you would like to highlight on Instagram, please send that to me and we'll go a little bit more in depth than what we did here. The same thing is true for our dairy program. So I'm hoping some of you are aware of this Facebook page. I've kind of already highlighted the scrapbook contest and what it is. So any shares that you would like to do, any information from this page that you would like to share, please feel free. That also populates on our UT Dairy website as well. So on our first landing page, if you scroll down, the first thing that you'll see is any highlights from our Facebook page. So that's a really good way to make sure that people within our organization can see what's happening. Denise, are you back with us?
Yes, my phone died. I apologize.
Thought you plugged in.
I did. It wasn't plugged into the computer.
Yay, technology. It's great when it works. So as we're coming to the end of our hour, are there any more questions about implementing this online, just general June Dairy Month questions?
Liz, this is Danielle in Johnson County. I was looking, I've got a student that's going to be our June Dairy Chair, and looking at the application, that is not fillable when it pulls up. Is there a way to make that fillable so I'm not having to like?
So you don't have to print it off?
Well, yeah, because right now I'm at home and I don't have access to a printer, and then getting it printed into my student, and I don't, you know, it's just a whole lot more to it than emailing a printable or, you know, fillable form and saying, here, do this and send it back.
Absolutely. Denise and I will work on that. I'm sure there's a way to turn that fillable fairly quickly. And if not, then we'll go rogue and recreate one in Adobe.
The other,
get that done for you.
Thank you. The other thing is, if there is a space on there that maybe we could list our social media sites so you all have access to that now, like, you know, our, then if there are certain hashtags or sites that you use, so if we make a post, we can just tag you all in it, that might be easier than you trying to search those out as well.
Yeah, that would be great. You can definitely add that section.
So if you can, like, maybe email that, you know, whatever tags or pages or things that we need to use when we make a post. So if we're doing just hashtag June Dairy Month, or, you know, @UT Dairy or whatever it may be, but so we know who and what to tag, so that'll pop up for you too, and you can share that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll send that in a follow-up email once we're done here. Thank you. Those are great points.
Thank you.
We have a question in the chat. Are there any other projects for June Dairy Month besides a scrapbook or a poster? So whatever projects you want to do, or whatever outreach you want to do, is really up to you and how creative you can be. So we've had people before take goats to a school, which probably isn't really all that realistic right now, and show how milking works. We've had students give out samples of milk or give out some of the promotional materials. The scrapbook is really just to show us what you did during June Dairy Month and however you were able to promote the art of dairy. Hope that answers that question. All right, last minute questions, comments, cries of outrage.
All right, before we go, I would like to say that I am here. If anybody needs any help, I would be really happy to help. I did enjoy this project a lot, and I'd love to stay in it, you know, as long as I can. So just anything you might need help with, please, you can reach and get in contact with me. And I'm ready for a great year. Hope it's just as great as it's always been.
What county are you in?
Sumner.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And following up on that, Denise and I are always here. The email and phone lines are always open to answer any questions or help out however we can as we get ready to celebrate dairy for a whole month.
I'm excited.
Denise, we just sent our dairy chairman information in yesterday, but it went to Georgia.
Okay. That's fine.
You're in Kentucky.
Yes. Our home office is in Atlanta, and I actually work in Kentucky and Tennessee with dairy events and programs, our board of directors and dairy farmers. So it sounds a little confusing, but think of it as a federation of dairy farmers that have come together to promote dairy across the whole Southeast. So the Atlanta address is right. That's where our administration things go on, and that's where Ashley Bice is housed. That's her main office in Atlanta.
Okay, so you're good. Will we be hearing anything from her as a confirmation to make sure that she got it and everything?
I will make sure that she sends you one. She should be. I received one today and sent a confirmation, but I'll follow up with her to ensure she's sending you one as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one final question in the chat here. In our scrapbooks, do we need to put our faces in every single picture? No, you do not have to put your face in every single picture. Pictures of activities that you are doing are just as effective. Although if you do find a creative way to put yourself in an Einstein face, I am all for that.
And even screenshots. If you just want to take screenshots of the posts, your Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever you're using, those count as records as well, because those are date and time stamped and we can see all that information. And a lot of your Facebook pages too, you'll get some data back on the number of people that have seen that, engaged with it, liked it. You want to include that feedback as well, that's good.
Do we need to request the items for giveaways from you, or are those going to be sent once we have someone registered?
Once you register someone and turn in the information, then I automatically put an order in to send that to y'all. And would you, I guess what would make the most sense, just clarify on the application if you want that to come to the agent or if you want us to send it to the student. Because if you're going to do a prize pack, it might be easier for an agent to send that out on behalf of the student or on the 4-H'er than the 4-H student trying to do that on their own.
Okay, we've already registered, so I'm not really sure where that is in your system, but I'm fine with it. To the agent is fine. I don't care.
Okay.
Really, it's fine either way.
Okay. I'll make a note. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if we don't hear anything else, Denise and I really appreciate all of your feedback and all of your time. We'll get to work on those things that we discussed. So creating a fillable form, sending out a follow-up email, and reaching out to all of you. And we'll stay in contact as June Dairy Month comes closer. Thank you all so much for all of your time and everything that you do.
And thank you for encouraging your youth to get involved. Dairy farmers cannot thank you enough for being a part of this program. And we need everyone we can being ambassadors for our farmers. We're in a really trying time right now. And the work you're doing is priceless. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for continuing to support this program.
You're welcome.
Bye, everyone.